very much for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you could do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button if you like the comment, or even if you don't, just hit subscribe so you can yell at me in the comments. That's fine too. Anyways, I'm Dan Watkins, going to do a little PGA Championship preview with my guy, Patrick Gates from the OddsBreakers. He's the host of multiple podcasts. He's a writer for Pro Golf Now as well. Patrick, what is up, man? Happy championship season, major championship season. I mean, this tournament is shaping up to be a really, really fun weekend of golf.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's great to talk as always. And yeah, what a great weekend here. It's the PGA Championship. We return to Quail Hollow, and after PGA bounced around a bunch, the Open bounces around a bunch, and so does the US Open as well. But we have some pretty solid course history here this week, which I think for any major championship is huge. So that's certainly going to be a big angle when we're talking about kind of who we like this week. But PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, unfortunately, I'm not sure this weather's cooperating as we've kind of seen through Monday and Tuesday, but I think we're going to have a few clear days towards the end of the weekend.
Yeah, so you bring up course history, and when it comes to major championships, as you were kind of talking about, a lot of these are spread out all over the place. Obviously, the Masters is at Augusta every year. We can really look to course history there. It's kind of a good starting point of who we're looking to bet on. Quail Hollow, they do play here every year, whether it's Wells Fargo, Truist, whatever it's called now. We do have a lot of guys with some very, very impressive course history here, whether it's Rory McIlroy, who's won here 4 times in his career. We got Justin Thomas, won his first career major here. Guys like Bryson DeChambeau has finished like top 10 here multiple times. Xander Schauffele has finished runner-up here multiple times. So I don't want to say, are you eliminating guys if they haven't played well here, but how much into your handicapping process does looking to course history with this particular course?
Well, I think Data Golf does a great job of this too, of course, kind of predictability based on their history. Augusta is number one, far and away, in terms of if you've had success at that course in the past, it's likely going to translate to future years here. Quail Hollow is number 2 or 3. So this week, history is everything. But that being said, they've continued to alter this course around for the past few editions. This year, it's playing over 7,600 yards. It's going to be long. They added about 70 yards from the 2024 Wells Fargo Championship. And from there, kind of going back a few years, they've continued to lengthen this course and make a few tweaks kind of around the greens with the bunkers. So this course is ever changing, but again, you still have that kind of general premises here that we're looking for of long off the tee. And I think that is going to kind of be amplified this weekend, especially given the soft conditions we're going to see with all this rain. So I think driving distance is everything here. And then kind of going back to your point, course history does matter. You are looking for a guy who hasn't necessarily struggled at this venue, while you're not kind of eliminating those guys who've only had the T30s, T40s. You are trying to hone in on a few guys who have shown that they can excel at this course.
So I'm going to pull up your article here that you did a great job with at the OddsBreakers here. And as I looked right away, you list strokes gained off the tee is the most important stat when you're looking to bet this particular tournament at this particular course. And I'm looking at 3 of the top 4 names of the leaders. And there we go. Those are the top 3 guys on the odds boards. We got Bryson. Obviously, you know he's going to mash the hell out of the ball. Rory is driving fantastic. Scotty Scheffler, we know, is playing great. I'm not really familiar with Nicholas Norgard Mahler, but he's on there too. So basically, this is telling us this could be a very chalky tournament this weekend.
Yeah, Moeller or Norgard is a young Dane that just absolutely smashes the hell out of the ball. So he is certainly someone to watch. One of the craziest markets, sorry to get off as a side note here, is going to be Top Dane. They're all kind of younger players here that just absolutely smoke the driver. There's no real odds-on favorite in this field when kind of looking at it. And it is going to be certainly something to watch. So it is kind of one of those niche markets, but looking at this field, they are all long off the tee. They are all right there clustered together. So rarely in a 5-player market, you're seeing maybe what, a 60-cent separation between the
Yeah.
top guy and the fifth player. So it is
Wow.
crazy to look at. Yeah.
That is interesting. That is a market
Yes.
I would have not wouldn't have like in a million years thought to look at here, but I might have to sprinkle some pizza money on that
Yes.
card just with the way he's playing there. So let's get into some of these storylines here because this is just a fascinating tournament from so many different
Unbelievable.
angles. We got Rory McIlroy, who has 3 wins this season, absolutely dominant here in the year of 2025. We know he just completed the career Grand Slam, winning the majors, 8 events. He has 5 top 10 finishes, has not finished worse than 17th this season. He is on another level right now. As he says, he has drawn inspiration from what Scotty Scheffler did last year. Scotty, meanwhile, coming off his first win of the season, where he absolutely ran away with the field, an 8-stroke victory at the CJ Cup Byron Nelson a few weeks ago. No real course history here, though, for Scotty, which is interesting. Then we got guys like Jordan Spieth, who is also trying to complete the career Grand Slam. I believe this is like his 9th attempt at it to try to win the PGA Championship. Playing pretty consistently this year. Nothing too special with Spieth, but I do think he's playing more consistently this season than we've seen him in the past few years. There's been some injuries there. The wrist last year was a big hamper to his game. Xander Schauffele, who is starting to really heat up as he returns to health. 4 straight top 20s. He has been the runner-up in 2 tournaments at this course the past 2 years. And I love this stat for Schauffele, by the way, from ESPN. He is the only player to finish in the top 10 in the last 5 majors. And he's also trying to become the first guy in 60 years to win 3 majors in 5 starts, which is just nuts. So I'm kind of babbling here. What's your favorite storyline? What are you most looking forward to, whether it's betting wise or just watching this tournament this week?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be Rory McIlroy, right? Having this dream season here, 3 PGA Tour wins, finally breaks through at Augusta, gets his Grand Slam, and now we go to the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, where he is essentially the king of. He owns the most wins here on all the PGA Tour. He's won 4 times at this course, which is insane. So for him to be kind of not even the betting favorite this week, I think is kind of a little bit disrespectful when looking at Scotty at the top of the board. I get it, Scheffler. We've seen what he's capable of coming off a win at the CJ Cup by Nelson, but that was a pretty weak field. He was about, I think he was 3-1, if not even less, when kind of looking at that leaderboard, or the odds board, excuse me, at the start of the tournament. So Rory's up there for sure. Spieth, his putting has been much better this year, and we've seen him kind of come close to a victory soon. Justin Thomas is another great storyline. Finally gets his first win since the 2022 PGA Championship, and has been he's won and finished runner-up
Yep.
in the last 3 events. Returns to Quail Hollow, where he won the PGA Championship in 2017. So Justin Thomas and Rory are definitely kind of the 2 major storylines here, I think. Xander, again, returning to form. I'm not sure if that's as big of a storyline. And remember, last year at the PGA Championship, this is where Scotty Scheffler got arrested in Louisville.
Yeah, that's right. And I saw
So,
he was wearing orange and black on the practice round. I don't know if that was this morning, Wednesday, or yesterday, but yeah, the bad boy of golf, Scotty Scheffler, has not won a major championship since getting arrested. So
nope.
could be the curse of his bad driving.
Yeah.
Anyway, last year in Louisville or wherever that was. For me, I'm looking at Bryson DeChambeau here. It's just with major championships the past year and a half now, he has been right where I've gone to. As you see, he's third there on the odds board. Bryson, he's playing well. He just won his most recent event on Live. I think he had a runner up there too since the Masters. His Masters Sunday was borderline disastrous for him. He was
Yeah.
just all over the place, could not get his yardage right, which for him is very strange to see with just how dialed he can get. I'm really looking at Bryson this weekend when it comes to someone here on the top of this board, but we got 3 guys under 10-1, which is something that we don't see all that often. Yeah, so he's finished top 10 in 4 of the last 5 majors, back-to-back top five finishes at the PGA Championship. Also, by the way, different courses. So, what do you think of Bryson, or is there a different live guy that you're looking to target this week?
No, I think Bryson's certainly the favorite coming out of Live this week, right? Coming off a win in Live Korea. But going back to Bryson's Sunday at Augusta, right, where he just kind of got off to a little bit of a hot start there. You're like, okay, now we kind of got a two-horse race here. Justin Rose comes from the back of the pack at the end. But even going back before that, at the US Open last year at Pinehurst, Bryson necessarily wasn't fantastic, especially off the tee in that round, right? He broke his driver before that Sunday round, kind of was fiddling around with it. And he was pretty inaccurate off the tee, often find himself in kind of those waste areas, but managed to kind of pull it together. Rory obviously missed that 5-footer at the end, which kind of opened the door for him, given his incredible short game. Bryson took advantage. But DeChambeau has had some interesting finishes kind of coming down the stretch here. Obviously, he's shown he can win on Live, shown he can win the US Open, but he hasn't necessarily played his best golf on Sunday, kind of in the past few major championships when in contention. So I do think Bryson is the deserving odds-on Live favorite to win this event. And I certainly think he has a chance, especially with the distance off the tee and the soft conditions, kind of as we point out before. 9 to 1 is an interesting price. You rarely see kind of three golfers under 10 to 1 in any sort of tournament. But kind of out of those three here, I think it's between Rory and DeChambeau as kind of my two tier one favorites in this one. I don't necessarily love Scheffler this week.
It's almost like we have like Friday morning prices to start this tournament,
Yes.
if that makes sense. Like
Yep.
it really feels like it's going to be one of these guys at the top. As we kind of start to go down a little bit, you mentioned Justin Thomas, another interesting angle here, playing really well. Colin Morikawa is not getting talked about at all this week, which I find very interesting. Oberg, he hasn't played well since that Masters Sunday. Terrell Hatton, I know you wrote up about him. You like him more in like a placement market here.
Yep.
Fleetwood's interesting. I've seen some love for Patrick Cantlay too. And then we got Hideki, Kepka, Hovland. Anybody in this mid tier that jumps out to you here when it comes to when we kind of go down a little further down this board?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that we're talking about mid tier as 22 to 1 instead of like our 40 to 1 odds. It's kind of insane when looking at it, but Xander definitely jumps out, right? Kind of got that monkey off his back last year, won the PGA championship, won the Open championship. It kind of proved that he is one of the elite players on the PGA Tour and in the world. Obviously had that rib injury to start this year, kind of delayed his progress, but looking at his progress coming off a pretty solid finish at the Truist, played well at the Masters earlier this year, too. I certainly think he's going to be a contender. You add in his course history, back-to-back runner-up finishes at the Wells Fargo in 2024, 2023. I wouldn't count out Xander at all this week. I think this course fits him as seen. And I really like him. I also think JT, his putting has been so much better than the years we've seen, especially last year. He was horrendous on those greens, missing those 3-footers. Even last week, we kind of saw a glimpse of that too. I think it was on 16. He had a 3-footer to tie the lead there, kind of just slid it past the hole at the Philadelphia Cricket Club. But again, he's shown he can win here. He's had some pretty good success in the Wells Fargos that he's played in incredible form. So I like JT and Xander kind of at the top of that tier two as guys who can compete, especially this week. You're looking at guys, I mean, I want to say there's a stat that I saw too of the past major championships. We haven't had kind of many new major championships at all, winners. So they've won before. They've proven they can elevate their game on these big tournaments. So I'm looking at Xander and JT kind of up there too. Ludwig, though, is another interesting player this week. Like off the tee and overall, his game fits this course so, so well. It's similar to Augusta, where length matters off the tee. He's got it. Hasn't been in the best form. His putting struggled a little bit, but we've seen that he can just kind of have these spike rounds. And so I wouldn't necessarily count him out this week, but I I don't love with the T10 because we've seen at Augusta last year in his Masters debut, he finished what, second? And then this year he finished seventh. And I think this course kind of mimics Augusta a little bit where with kind of the key stats that matter.
Yeah, Oberg seems to be that guy that is like knocking at the door, the next guy
Yep.
that people think is going to win that major championship. And I do expect him at some point in his career to be a multiple time major winner. I don't know if it's this week. Going back to Schauffele, so I just pulled up his major championship timeline, and this is like so absurd how consistent he has been. He has finished top 20 or better 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 straight major championships. Xander Schauffele has finished in the top 20. The dude is so consistent. So I'm looking, Pat, at this little builder here that before you came on, I was kind of playing around with. You go over to DraftKings, you take Rory McIlroy and you take Xander Schauffele, both in the top 20. You got a nice little plus 124 there. I think that's a really nice little bankroll builder for the weekend because these two have just been so consistent.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great parlay, T20 parlay there too. I mean, Xander, like you just go back to it. Wins at the PGA Championship, second at the Wells Fargo, T18 at the PGA Championship at Oak Hill in 2023, second at the Wells Fargo, just kind of looking at the course history and event history, T13 in 2022 at the PGA Championship at Southern Hills. Like he is the model of consistency, and with his game rounding into form, his approach plays there. His putting was a major issue earlier this season, losing strokes in three of his first four tournaments. That's changed. His distance is there off the tee. He fits this course well. So I really like that T20 parlay of Rory and Xander.
So another guy here that I'm looking at, I like Tommy Fleetwood, top 20 this week at a nice
Yep.
120. I mean, he's got 9 events this season. He's finished in the top 25 in 8 of them. So he's right there pretty much every single week. We know with Tommy that he just can't get in the winner's circle. It's
Can't.
basically he just can't finish the job. He's going to play great, but he just can't elevate quite to that level that we need him to cash an outright ticket. But anytime you're getting a guy like Tommy Fleetwood at like a plus 120 to finish in the top 20, I that's something I want to grab here. I think this course is going to fit his game well. He's got 5 top 20 finishes in the last 8 majors as well. And he's also got a tied for 21st. That was at the Masters, a tied for 26. So we know he's right there. Tommy Fleetwood, someone in the placement markets that I'm looking to play this week.
Yeah, I love that. I'm on that too. When you look at his Wells Fargo history, 2024 T13, 2023 T5, 2021 T14. He is the ultimate top 20 placement guy. Like he can't win, refuses to win on the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, different story with 7 wins there. But he is kind of my favorite guy to target at that T20 market, especially when it comes to major championships.
Yeah, and actually just got a little bit of a better price on DraftKings too, plus 130 now. So I'm going to
No,
make sure to lock that in here in the next couple of minutes. Another guy that I wanted to bring up, John Rahm, is someone who we know a couple of years ago was right there with Scotty and Rory and those guys at the top of this sport, the top of it, at the top of his game. A little bit of an injury, goes to live. Someone that is just he so desperately wants to get back to that level. We haven't quite seen him get there yet. Playing pretty well on live this season. The Masters, he had a really rough Thursday. And if
yeah.
you look with John Rahm, he's been kind of doing this where he starts slow. John Rahm is someone I'm going to be looking to live bet here this weekend, whether it's probably not an outright, but maybe like a live top 20. If we can get him to go over that, like into the plus money territory, I think John Rahm is someone you want to look at like Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, if he's still playing to place somewhere.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. He's definitely a great look to look at kind of in that placement market. In terms of course history, right? 2021 Wells Fargo missed the cut, 2027 or 2017 PGA Championship, excuse me, T58. Not great history, but again, those are a few years back, so I'm not placing kind of too much emphasis on that. He's been the model of consistency on live, hasn't finished worse than T7, T9 this year, which is insane. But again, it's just, I think for him, it's one of these mental barriers of just kind of being able to get over the hump. I think we've seen this with Colin Morikawa too, as that guy who has just kind of struggled mentally. We saw it earlier this week or earlier this year, excuse me, at the API. Morikawa had a 3-shot lead with 5 holes to go and just kind of crumbled to Russell Henley. But yeah, I mean, I certainly think Rom is a contender. But as like looking at Brooks in his 2023 PGA Championship victory. He had won on Live before that. Looking at Bryson with the US Open Championship victory last season, he had won on the Live Tour before that year. So I'd like to see a guy who has at least kind of won something on any tour when kind of heading into these events. So that's my only thing with Rahm. And Koepka's another guy that he's a complete wild card this
Yeah.
week, right? The PGA Championship, he loves it.
He's
But
three times, right?
yeah, three-time winner, most recently in 2023. But he's been kind of strange this week leading up to the tournament. I think there was issues with his presser. He didn't show up to the Champions Dinner last night. So I don't know if this is just Brooks being like Brooks and like going kind of like Aaron Rodgers, I'm focusing on myself type mode, or what
Yeah.
exactly this Brooks we're getting this week. So I think Brooks is my biggest wild card when kind of looking at the current favorites, if you want to call them that.
Yeah, it's interesting here as we kind of go through, but let's kind of keep bouncing around here. So let's just kind of go down the board. I love doing this and asking guests. Like,
Yep.
I'm gonna just fire outright top five, top 10. You give me your favorite play for each category. All right.
Awesome.
All right. Favorite outright this week.
Favorite outright this week. I'm going to say Xander. I
Xander.
think Xander with the course history, I think you're getting a good price at him. We've seen him in majors at 14 to 1. Now he's
Yep.
kind of bumped up with the injuries. His recent form is there. PGA Championship history is there. I love Xander at that 22 to 1 price this week.
Top five.
Top five pick. Give me how can you not take Rory at even money right now? That's an incredible price. Rory top five finish at even money. I think it's there for the taking. I think he's certainly going to be in contention come Sunday.
Including ties as well too. I don't know
Yes,
about you. I'm someone I have to do including ties. I'm so paranoid
yes.
when it comes to golf. I don't care if I'm losing 30, 40 cents on a guy. I need the top tie because nothing pisses me off more than the dead heat rules coming in,
Oh,
like losing half your winnings because of a tie.
it's brutal. And before too, DraftKings is new to this, so the only book you could place kind of the top 20 markets, including ties, was BetMGM, and now
Yeah.
DraftKings has kind of gotten on board. I don't think FanDuel's there yet, but I always kind of opt to include the ties, even if you are losing, like you said, 30 cents.
All right. Very good. How about top 10?
Top 10, give me Ludwig at plus 240 on it was on BetMGM plus 240. We've seen him kind of take that step forward at Augusta last year, showing he can contend at a major. Did well it again at Augusta this year. He can turn it on in big time events too. In Torrey Pines South, a comp course for this week where the Genesis was moved to, he won it. So Ludwig's got some great comp history this week, showing he can elevate his game in major championships. And also last year at the PGA, that was the height of his knee injury, and he addressed that this offseason. I think Ludwig's certainly probably my best bet to be in that top 10
All
coming
right.
on Sunday.
How about top 20?
Top 20. Hmm. This is interesting. In between two guys here right now, Tommy Fleetwood and Tyrrell Hatton, but I will go with what we talked about before of Tommy Fleetwood, plus 130. The guy's got the numbers at Quail Hollow. He's shown he can elevate his game in majors. Great form this year on the PGA Tour. So I'm going to say Tommy Fleetwood.
And then I'll just group top 30, top 40. A lot of people don't like to go to these markets. I mean, it's understandable with how juiced some of these prices are. And then you're really getting down to some guys that just aren't playing consistently here. But is there anybody in either one of those markets that you like?
Yeah, I was going to make a joke and say Michael Block, but I won't do that this week. We can avoid any sort of conversations on him. Yeah, I took Harris English, plus 130 for a top 40 finish here. He's known this course well. T3 finish in 2023, T34 in 2024. He's been pretty good this year. He's already got a PGA Tour victory at the Farmers Insurance Open, where one of those rounds is held on Torrey Pines South. Or two of those rounds, three of those rounds are held on Torrey Pines South, excuse me. So he's got some great comp history heading in here. Plus 130, I think Harris English, despite being on the older side of things and not necessarily having that kind of massive driving advantage, he putts the ball extremely well. His irons have been dialed lately, and he's got a fairly good short game to kind of make up for those areas, despite his lack of distance off the tee.
And I'll put make miss cut can always be make miss. I love like doing little parlays here and like the make cut.
Mhm.
But Is there any like what's like? Do you have a surprise like a miscut? Someone's just gonna stink this weekend. They're like, this is gonna be like, oh, I can't believe how bad this guy played, and he's gonna miss.
Surprise missed the cut looking at the top of the board. Hmm.
I'm looking like down
I
here.
wouldn't be shocked if I'm looking right now. I'd say the two top contenders right now for missing the cut. I'm going to go with Wyndham Clark and
Right.
Joaquin Niemann. Those are my two kind of favorites that we want to look at to miss the cut here. Uh, Clark did win the 2023 Wells Fargo Championship, but he's been so inconsistent with his play overall. He hasn't been good in the last few weeks. T63 in a field of 70 at the Truist Championship. His irons were horrendous. Missed the cut in the Zurich Classic. T27 at the RBC Heritage. Didn't play great at the Masters this year. So I'm looking at him to miss the cut. He's missed the cut in each of his last two PGA championships as well.
Yeah, I kind of want to say Tony Finau. I mean, look at the big
Hmm.
tournaments this year. He missed at the Players, missed at the Masters. Just something's just not right with Finau right now. I feel like I know he's playing a little bit better. Just had that tied for 15th, but he's just someone who I'm instantly going to go to. I'm just looking at last year what he missed at.
Yeah, the issue with the make the cuts here is the PGA Championship, I think, is one of the most forgiving majors where the cut line is now top 70 in ties instead of Augusta where it's top 50 in ties, and then other PGA Tour other majors where it's top 60, 65 in ties. So there is more players that are going to make the cut this year than kind of another normal PGA Tour event. So that is the only thing I'd say be wary of.
Fair point, and that's a good note. I think we pretty much covered most of it. Anything else golf related that you want to hit on here? We can talk a little hockey if you want to.
Yeah, we no, I think that's it for the golf this week. It should be a great event, and I think we are going to see some surprising names at the top of the leaderboard. Kind of especially on Saturday where some guys make some move. Sunday's supposed to be dry, so we're going to get optimal conditions for that. Thursday is going to be a little bit rainy. Friday, I think we're going to have some issues there as well. But I wouldn't be shocked if you are going to take long shots this week. I'd say look at that driving distance category. I'd say look at maybe Taylor Pendrith, Kurt Kitayama, uh, Norgard as well as another player who just they smash the ball off the tee, and I think that's going to kind of shock a few people this week with their distance.
So there you go. You heard it here, folks. Go for the big drivers this week at this course. All right, we'll talk hockey for like 5 minutes here because the NHL playoffs have been fantastic. We got two games tonight. We got game 5 between Toronto and Florida. The home team has won every game in that series.
Yep.
Interesting to see if that trend continues here. But I think Florida has finally gotten under Toronto's skin here, and we're about to see just the leaves falling in the spring, as Jack Edwards once said. When eliminated them, and then in the other series, we got Vegas trying to stave off elimination. I feel like I have pissed away so much money on the Knights this round that I can't do it. I can't
Yeah.
back them right now with the way Edmonton's playing here. You got give me? Do you have any favorite plays tonight in either of these two games?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting too. The big storyline in that Vegas Edmonton series is Stuart Skinner. Calvin Pickard kind of came in early in that round, looked better than Skinner. He gets hurt. Stuart Skinner comes in, looks shaky in that first game back, shuts him out the next
I can't
game.
believe that.
It's
I
an it
cannot believe that happened.
it's crazy. But Aiden Hill hasn't been good on the other side, and people are just completely ignoring the fact that he's on that side, doesn't look good. Um, I do think the Leafs kind of bounce back at home tonight. I'm looking at a save prop here. Sergei Bobrovsky over 22 and a half saves. The Leafs have averaged 26 shots per game in that round two. Bobrovsky has been pretty solid in these last few games. The Leafs, I think this is their time if they are going to make a push in this series to try to stop any momentum that Florida has. I think it's tonight. I think the Leafs come out firing. I think that's kind of their option in this series. So Bobrovsky over 22 and a half saves. He's too good. I think the Leafs will probably get one or two by him, but I think their strategy tonight is just going to be try to create as many chances as possible.
Very good. Pucks on net. All right. I think that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow Patrick at Gator Betting on X or Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it these days. Find his work at the Odds Breaker. It's great stuff. Patrick, thanks so much, man. Hope to do it again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, guys. If you've made it this far, if you could do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It would mean a lot as we try to build this channel here. But good luck, happy betting, happy championship, happy Preakness, whatever you want to say for the rest of the way here. But thanks, and I'll be back probably next week with another show. All right, let's end that stream. All right, very good. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was great talking some golf and some hockey as well. No, it was a pleasure.